I think that is so important, especially for the direct sellers listening. It's like if you're surrounding yourself with the people who are talking negatively about, your business journey or something like that, you're going to have those bad thoughts and you're going to have to find that purple chair quite often because you need to pull yourself out.
Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the Other 99%, every seller matters.
Hey everyone, it is me, Lisa, and welcome back to another episode of The Other 99%. I'm here with our co-host, Susan Larimer, and our special guest, Kathy. And it's Amy, right? Is that
Yeah.
how you okay? Kathy Emeigh. And ironically, I met Kathy through Oh My High. Didn't really realize that she had any ties to the direct sales field. And then I was chatting with Susan one day and she's like, wait a minute, no, she's on my team. So, and it's like, Kathy does such amazing things. So we wanted to reach out to Kathy and see if she would be a guest on the podcast. So thank you, Kathy, for joining us. But I just want you to jump in and tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, what you do, and all that stuff.
It is such an honor to be here and to see both of you in front of me like I am. I just am so thankful and grateful for this time to be with you and your fellow travelers, the other 99%, right? So, and we're all fellow travelers on this place we call Earth. And so there's a lot of commonalities, but there's a lot of uniqueness in each of us. So my name is Kathy Emeigh, and I'm from Eastern PA. And I could give you a whole long list of labels to describe myself, but I kind of laugh a little bit because I don't like being labeled. I think they minimize even my own thoughts of myself when I start labeling myself, but I'll give it a try. So here we go. Some adjectives or descriptors. I am 72 years young. And I am forever young. I have decided I'm not going to believe the myth that once you get a certain age, you're kind of just retire. I'm just not about that. I'm always about curiosity. I'm insatiable curiosity. I have an insatiable curiosity about my fellow travelers. I'm so interested because you're all so different and so unique. I am a Mimi of 9 children. 9 grandbabies, 2 of which are girls, the rest are boys. So it's like herding cats when they come around, but it's great. They're all young. They're all like in the same age group. I am a mother of 4. Susan was actually pretty instrumental in the growth of my adult children in their joy. A lot of adventures they had. I call myself a teacher, an author. I just put out my first book, I don't know if that's the right word, but anyway, I am an author. I am a spiritual guide, a coach, companion. And back to you, ultimately, my base is that I believe you are, all of you listening, Susan, you, Lisa, even me, we're all uniquely, exquisitely, and elegantly designed. Never was there one like us before, and never will there be again. And that just amazes me. So basically, you're a gem. We're gems with multifaceted. We sparkle. So I delight when I meet someone new and have a new relationship or experience. I delight in trying to spot the sparkle instead of looking at their height or their degrees or their income. And I remember when I was more directly in direct sales, it was so fun to sit with people at the closing and hear about them more deeply. So I believe life is a learning journey about myself, about others, about knowledge that will support my business, my practice. And I basically believe, this may be controversial, but I believe that perfection is a very silly goal. And because the perfection measurement is we're looking at comparing ourselves to others and their perfection or what we perceive their perfection to be. I think it almost is puts a ceiling on our growth. Well, I haven't reached it, so well, it's kind of energy draining. So, and I believe that everyone has a purple chair. So that's a little bit about me. I can go on about my direct sales, but did you have any questions about that so
I'm
far?
gonna I'm gonna hop in because Kathy and I have known each other for years, and I actually texted my mom this morning and I said, "What year did the Amy's come to our church?" And so she looked up old directories and there's a picture of your beautiful family and Mark is a baby.
Hi.
And then the older ones were a couple years old and Jana and Kurt and Scott, and it was 1990. So I have known you for 36 years. And you are such a unique and beautiful person, so positive and just like unique. That's all I can think of. You're just such a gem, like you said. So getting to have you on our podcast is just amazing because it's like one of those full circle moments. Like I babysat for your kids. I had them in youth group. Jana and I were very close. And then, we moved away. We moved to Mexico and now we're in New Jersey, and your direct sales journey has brought you to where you are today with your own website, with your own book, and now we get to come together again through that journey. So I just love those full circle moments. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for saying that. And Mark also married one of my
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
I can't remember which.
Jana. Or
Jana.
no, both of wait. No, I think we attended Jana's. He married Kurt at the, in North Carolina.
South Carolina.
South
That's
Carolina.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
My husband married
gosh.
their kids.
Yeah. So we have a lot of connections. And I think that's what that you brought that up. Those connections, you never know when they're going to come around again, or it's that 6 degrees of separation, I guess. We all are connected. And so to build ourselves up just helps everybody around us. And when I say build ourselves up, I don't mean with external narratives.
Mhm.
I mean
Mhm.
from internal narratives that I know and believe deeply. But I need to take time to find those. And that's what this purple chair is all about, is taking that time to discover, rediscover that place of peace within us when we sit down in that chair and we go, okay, I don't have to perform. I can set my list of things I get to do aside. I can take those thoughts that are feeling uncomfortable. My shoulders are tight. My neck feels like my throat is, I can't, those thoughts you get. I can't even speak. And some people tell me their chests get real tight when they start thinking these thoughts that pull energy away from us. Well, we get to set them down, see them as beacons rather than, I got to get rid of them. I got to get rid of them. Rather, well, okay, that's how we're thinking, but let's be a little curious about that and not believe that thought is not the boss of me. So that's this purple chair work is a growth place. And your purple chair could be red. I have a friend that I said, what colors? Oh, I was telling her about this purple chair. And she said, I have a white room where she goes and she just rest. She's a masseuse, and so she gets a lot of energy from the folks she's massaging, and she just has that place of peace where she goes. I went into another woman's house. I do have a weekly pause that I put out to about 150 folks, 155. You guys are actually
Mhm.
included on that. Anyway, and I walked into her house one day and she said, there's my purple chair. And it was tan. It was
Mhm.
sitting in a corner with a lamp and a little teapot. Whatever got her in that place where her body said, it
Mm,
could be on the beach. Susan,
mm,
you know that. It could
yeah.
be anywhere, but I just believe that we all have a purple chair, and I could go on and on about that. Uh, but I did want to talk a little bit about my direct sales experience. And as I was preparing and getting excited and ready for this time with you and your followers, your fellow travelers, I it was such an opportunity to reflect, to just sit in my purple chair and reflect on what was my experience in direct sales, because I love direct sales. Love them. I think they are it's an opportunity for folks to have agency, autonomy, be creative, impact their corner of the world. So, like I said, back in 2079, I started with Mary Kay with a $2,000 personal loan. That was a lot of money back
Mhm.
then. You guys weren't even alive. Anyway,
I was alive. I was
were
alive.
you? Not real,
Yeah.
not
Or
very long
2.
alive. Yeah. Susan, you were 2? How old should I ask Lisa?
5.
How old?
I was
5?
5. Yeah.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, you were actually in your prime then, because you hadn't heard a whole lot of messages or conditioning or anything. You were just delightful, sparkly little girls, right? Um, so I took out the loan. Of course, my husband said that was fine. I can't even remember. I don't think back then you needed like collateral or anything.
Mhm.
So I had this $2,000 loan and I thought, okay, I'm going to make this business work, and I realized what kept me going to get that loan paid off was the support of my upline. Not just Gail, who was my direct upline, but her upline. And that support web, I'm going to call it a web, but it was not a
Mhm.
spider's web. It was not easy to pull down. They were persistent and always encouraging, or I would have given up. So I was able to pay off that loan and then moved into actually from working with deaf kids, deaf and hard of hearing kids, and interpreter, went into the structural steel business. So that's in a way direct sales. And even working with children and families that have deaf children in them, you're working to help them learn how to proceed and have better lives. So in a way that's direct, correct? Direct. I was one-on-one with those kids and those
Mhm.
families.
Mhm.
So then fast forward after having 4 children and in 2014, Susan,
Yeah.
I don't I don't know what made me get interested in lemongrass spa. It was you, obviously, but I'm trying to
Yeah, I
remember
joined in July of 2014, and I think you had purchased some products, and then by that October, so a couple months later, you were my very first teammate, and you have been with me
From the
still.
beginning. That's
Yes,
awesome.
yes.
Oh, it is. It's been such a joy. And you gave me the freedom to do it my way, to do what was best for me. Had I tried to follow a business plan that was go for it and get your upline going and all that, having by then, let's see, my kids were young adults then.
Mhm.
Uh, I just started having these 9 grandbabies. I changed my position from director of curriculum to Mimi and all this work I'm doing. So had you pressured me in a way that wasn't good for me, I would have given up.
Mm.
I'm sure because it's too painful to try to be who I'm not.
Well, and I remember going to your house. I think I was living well, I know I was living in Ohio, and I was home visiting my family in Bethlehem, and, you had invited me over just to kind of see your options. You said, "You know what? I'm gonna be retiring in the future. Do I wanna do lemongrass full time and make that, like, my retirement? Or how can I make it, work and fit into my life?" And we had a long conversation about that, and seeing where you are now, it definitely had a part in it. You're still with lemongrass, maybe, some extra income, maybe giving, great products to your friends and family. But I'm so excited for where you are now because you're not focused on direct sales, but and maybe now's the time you can dive into sharing all of the services that you offer and everything that you're doing from that direct sales journey.
Yeah. Again, that was this listening that you did and hearing me, really hearing me, Susan. I can remember it now vividly, is what propels me, and probably listening to deaf children and their parents and their families, and uh, then listening to teachers and teaching teachers how to teach all children, uh, has all these experiences have gotten me to where I am right now. And I have my own little business practice called This Purple Chair. I have a website from Lisa,
Mhm.
and actually it's from you, Susan,
Mhm.
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I knew I wanted a website to put out all this production that I was doing, and I'll get into that in a minute. And you again offered support. You heard me. I went and signed on with Oh My High, who I love, love, love. I tell everybody about you guys. And at one point, I bet, Lisa, you knew I was ready to give up.
Mhm.
And not just
Yeah.
once. No, it wasn't just
I just
once.
jumped in and I said to the ladies, like to Becky and Jeremy, I'm like, just let me talk to her, please, like because I knew she was frustrated. I knew she just wasn't sure of the direction she needed to go, and I'm like, just let me talk to her. And they're like, Lisa, you understand her, like she's yours. Just help her with what she needs to be helped with. So that's yeah, you're my oh my high person.
Oh, I'm great. You're my oh my high person. And what a beautiful company though.
Yeah.
Everyone I've worked with has been lovely. And see, it's a language thing. I can spell all the words you say. I could probably interpret them to a deaf person. But to do it myself, it kind of goes in and goes right out somewhere. And so
Mhm.
you make it approachable. Uh,
And maybe that's a good place to pause too, because, Oh My High has different levels. You can just get the basics where you're creating your own website, but it doesn't come with the email marketing. And then the next level has email marketing. And then the next level is, you know what? Here's what I want on my website. Do it for me. And
mhm.
that's what you signed up for. So maybe you can, even talk about that experience and why you chose that and how it has been for you.
What a great idea. I I chose that because I knew after doing a lot of research, I got certified in what's called This Naked Mind by Annie Grace and also Affective Liminal Psychology. So I'm a certificated coach in those uh I don't even want to call them programs and those ways of thinking about addiction and thought life and all of that. So I knew I wanted to put myself out there in a website, but I tried several and it just wasn't for me. And part of me wanted to feel like a failure, but because of this purple chair practice, I just realized, well, just keep trying. Just keep going. It's just not a fit. That doesn't make you wrong. That doesn't make me wrong or less than. And so I found Oh My High through Susan and her encouragement and found a place that I could feel comfortable and where I could grow. I think I've grown. I don't know, Lisa,
You
have
have,
I
you
grown?
have, you
Okay.
have, yeah.
She's just helped that. So I chose the highest, um, the most in-depth help because I know, having been a teacher myself, working with children with disabilities and also with neurotypical children, I knew there were different levels of support that each person needs. And so I knew from deep inside me that was the level of support I needed. And I did. I did. I'm still there. I'm still with it. And the more gentle I could be with myself, the more I could hear and learn from the wise one. Oh, wise one, Lisa. My the more gentle I am. See, I do a lot. The whole work I do is with tender, loving care, compassion, and curiosity to the third power. So the more we can offer ourselves in our thought life, and this is for all you fellow travelers, okay? The more we can offer that to ourselves and be aware when we are putting guilt, shame, blame, condemnation, judgment on ourselves and on others, we close our prefrontal cortex, we close our wisdom center, and we can't think clearly. But if we take those guilt, shame, blame, and set them down and say, okay, I hear you. I'm not going to throw you in the trunk, but stay in the back seat. I'm still the boss of you, and you are a beacon for me to move into a wiser spot, a more peaceful spot where I can access my wisdom. Let's see. So anyway, so I stayed with the $300 a month is what it was around there. And I'm
Mhm.
still there because I personally have the ability to pay it. And more than that, I am getting more than $300 worth of help and learning and experience. And so that's why I'm staying with that right now.
Mhm.
But it's nice to know that I could change it. There's
Mhm.
something lovely about having options. People
Mhm.
like options. I like
Mhm.
options. And so that's how I love Oh My High. If, like I said, if it wasn't for Lisa, I would be not doing what I'm doing. I don't even know if I would
I
have had
think a
my
lot
book
of us could
finished.
say that. Yeah.
Oh, but
Easily.
anyway, so then comes I offer a weekly pause where there's an audio and a text that I send out to over 150 people now, but it's now hooked to my website. Lisa was integral in that and helpful and has done a beautiful job. I just started blogging again, and that's on the website. I have what's called a discovery call, and it's not just a discovery call to find out, it's certainly to find out, do you want to work with me? But it's also to find out, do I want to work with me? Do I want to work with me, with all
Mhm.
of me, with not just the external part, the earth suit, but the essence of who I am, because that's the system of self. Our earth suits get so loud
Mhm.
and we can't hear that inner wisdom, that inner direction. And so that's what this purple chair is all about. So, and then I have my book. Here we go, from this purple chair to yours.
Mhm.
That's actually a lake in Maine.
Mm.
And the idea that we all have a purple chair is another point of connection. We're all human. We all need food.
Mhm.
We all bleed blood.
Mhm.
you know um we all have that place of peace inside. I believe that with all my heart. It just gets covered up by the cacophony of the world. And so that's where we rediscover, and our journeys are all about rediscovery,
Mhm.
with a lot of compassion and connection, support, and learning how to support ourselves is just a gift. And then that overflows. See, that's the gift of the purple chair. You sit and you find your spot. It could be a beach chair, it could be sitting at a stoplight
Mhm.
where you just stop and pause and take a breath. And believe it or not, 7 seconds of that action done regularly accumulates, and it doesn't decumulate. I don't know that that's a
Mhm.
word. And you can see sign language. If this is visual at all, you're seeing me do sign language. But that 7 seconds, think of that, 7 seconds daily as a rendezvous with your God, with yourself and God, uh, accumulates, and you you're building new neural pathways to wisdom and wiser thinking, peaceful living. Um, it's motivating. So that's, I think,
I don't know if you get it, Susan, but every time I talk to Kathy, it's like you feel so calm.
I can feel myself,
It's
like,
like, ah,
taking a deep breath and just I mean, 7 seconds. 7 seconds.
seven
That's all it takes.
seconds. It's just
7 seconds.
amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah.
And now they have deep MRIs. I don't know what they're called. Exactly. But it's a deep MRI that can watch new neural pathways, new thought structures. That's pretty much what a thought structure looks like. Spark
Mm.
when you take that deep breath. And I say you get into a threshold place. Like you can see the threshold behind me of in here and then out that window. There's a threshold. And so when we're feeling reactive, we get into that threshold spot and just say, wait a minute, right now in this moment, all is well. And your brain goes, oh, okay, okay, all is well. Now take a deep breath and we can proceed.
Hey everyone, just a quick pause to thank today's sponsors, CinchShare. CinchShare is a social media scheduler designed for direct sellers and creators alike. It's your go-to tool for planning, scheduling, and simplifying social media right from your phone. Built to take away the overwhelm, it lets you upload your own content, use a ready-to-share library, schedule across multiple platforms, or post on the go using the CinchShare keyboard. Want to learn more about CinchShare or grab a free 30-day trial? Visit lisadoc.com/CinchShare. Now back to the episode.
In my speech therapy days, going to grad school, the neurological classes were my favorite because I was so fascinated with the brain. And I remember learning, when people have a stroke, part of their blockage, it's blocked, like their speech, their communication, whatever, it's blocked, but your brain is able to reroute. It's not blocked forever, it just takes a little detour. And so that just opened up a whole new world for me, and not only if you have a stroke, but like you said, you tend to think a certain way. If you're negative, 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 you think, "Well, I'm always gonna be negative," but no, you can teach your brain new pathways. You don't have to say, "Well, that's just who I am," because that's
Mhm.
just not the way it is scientifically, biologically, that's not how we're made, so that has
And
always fascinated me.
oh, it's amazing. And experientially, we know that to be true.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so this purple chair is really all about your thought life and that they are structures. It's physical. I can take it and look at it and talk to it.
yeah,
And that's the work that I do in my spiritual companioning, in my coaching, is a lot of thought work, a lot of good that we can examine them again with TLC3. Because if I examine it with condemnation, it just grows the thought. But if I examine it with tender loving care, I almost create a new thought. I actually do. And the old
mhm,
thought dissipates. It's amazing. We are amazing creatures, unique, exquisite, and elegant.
yeah.
So this is my purple chair place. I'm just trying to think, was there
Well, and I think a lot of what you're saying too, you can bring that back to your, um, when you were talking about your direct sales journey, how your upline was like pivotal in helping you along and keeping you there. It's because you're surrounding yourself with that positivity too, right? It's not just what's coming in from here, but what's coming in there, right?
yes.
So I think that is so important, especially for the direct sellers listening. It's like if you're surrounding yourself with the people who are talking negatively about your business journey or something like that, you're going to have those bad thoughts and you're going to have to find that purple chair quite often because you need to pull yourself out. But it's going to be harder and harder and harder if you don't push away those outside thoughts. Am
Mhm.
I right by saying that?
Perfectly well said. I would say that a quick, easy idea is that when you get that thought, take a second and think, okay, is that draining my energy? Is it heavy? Do I feel my shoulders going down or up, tense?
Mhm,
Because then you can say, oh, I have a choice. That's a bodily response. That's a beacon saying, this just doesn't feel good. My body doesn't feel good. My tummy gets tight. Wherever you get it, I'm feeling depressed. I left that person or that thought leaving despair. I have despair.
mhm,
As soon as you recognize those are beacons to say, oh, okay, now what? what little bit of courage, taking just a tiny, like a mustard seed of courage and saying, okay, that's energy draining. What's going to be energy giving? What's going to be
Mhm.
energy resupplying? And as soon as you do that, there's an awareness. Your inner self goes, huh, yeah, okay. Now it takes a lot of different tactics and things that help us stay there. But
Yeah.
that's what this work is all about. And that's why I believe as direct sellers, you have such an opportunity for impact. You will impact every person that comes into your corner of the world.
Mhm. One thing you said before the podcast, we were talking about relationships, not only relationships with your upline and your teammates, but you said something very interesting in that you need to focus on the relationship with yourself. So I would love for you to go into that a little bit.
Yeah. So take a breath with me. This is a lot we're chatting on is so we have what I call an earth suit. It's our what we're formed in our the womb, but we're formed before that. I believe we are created infinitely as a unique, exquisite vessel. And then all of a sudden we get this earth suit and we pop out into earth. And our earth suit, we need. We need our earth suit to feed it and we need it to be scared when it really does need to be scared about a true present danger. And yet we get anxious. And so when we get in those points, to try to give an example here, I have another part of me which was created before I got my earth suit. But that voice gets quieter and quieter the bigger and bigger my earth suit gets, the louder and louder the louder input comes into me, the cacophony of the world and the messaging and the programming of my just having parents. None of our parents are perfect. They're human. They did the best they could with the jobs they could with what they had, the tools they had. So anyway, there's a part of us that the earth suit and the essence we have to reconnect with our essence, our whole self. We are a system of self. And so to have relationship with our whole self is the key, because as we hear our wisdom deep within and our earth suit, we don't want to throw that baby out with the bathwater. We then grow. Oh, how do we grow? Golly, so many words. We grow deeper. We grow more confident. We grow in peace no matter what the environment's throwing at us. There's a deep level of peace that it's not that we're Alice in Wonderland or just, Peter Pan or whatever, but knowing that peace even in the midst of an argument with my husband of 48 years. And so that relationship with ourselves, a ripple happens and we feel it. We sense the integration, the connectedness, the cohesiveness that's available to us as individuals. Then my belief is we overflow. So when we go out and we're at an event and we're encouraging folks that this product could really help them, and I know it will help some. We just ripple out and we're not selling so much as we're listening and we're rippling out that integration, that connection. So that relationship from here goes out that way, goes out, what's that way? Horizontally. The vertical goes out to horizontal. And so by liking ourselves and integrating our whole self, we then start liking people more that might annoy us. All of a sudden, they don't annoy us quite as much as they used to. Um, or maybe like my husband, I'm appreciating him more and more the more I learn to appreciate myself and see his differences as very unique and elegant and exquisite. So it really is all about relationship, isn't it? I guess that's if we put a theme on today, it would be about relationship and relationship, up and down and out.
Yeah, I love that.
Now, I know that you were going to read us something from your book, so do you mind sharing that?
I would be honored, and I would love to share it. Near the end of the book, and it's not a long book, and it's really not my book. It has pages in it for you, the reader, to record your journey as you sit in your purple chair. But there's invitations that I had to put at the end. And you can choose to accept the invitations or not. But here are the ones that I think are have a lot of return on their investment. First of all, pause. Take a deep breath. It's sacred ground. Um, it's that place that's between stimulus and reaction, between old perspective and new perspective, old thought and new thought. And that all happens in the pause, in that threshold spot. Go there often. Take a breath often. Release, and then return to your business, to your life, to your family, to your friends. So that's number one. Watch out for those and honor those sacred threshold places always. And may your default always be TLC3. Tender loving care, compassion, and curiosity. Oh, that's interesting. Rather than that's awful and naming it and condemning and blaming yourself and others. That just sucks your energy, your life energy. But tender loving care to the third power is exponentially powerful. Lean into curiosity. That goes with what I just said before about tender loving care. Lean into that. And when you see yourself judging, and you will, you're human, because human, judging, blaming, shaming, guilting, condemning, we all do it. But all of a sudden it loses a little bit of power and it becomes a beacon. So don't try to get rid of that, but just look at it as, what's going on here in my body? Remember, awareness is not punishment. Being aware of what's going on and how you're feeling and how you're acting and behaving in life, it presents possibility. It's key. Awareness is key. And never forget, you, listen, you are uniquely, exquisitely, and elegantly designed. Don't denigrate that. Don't denigrate yourself. You have been beloved from the beginning, before time even was existed. You were beloved. Beloved of a creator, designer, God. And you are beloved from beginning to the end and beyond. So rest in those invitations. Consider them. And I don't think you'll be disappointed.
I love everything you share, Kathy.
No.
So
Oh,
Beautiful.
I'm
thank you.
I am sure our listeners are going to want to find a little more about you. So can you tell them where to go to learn more about Kathy?
Okay. You can email me at purplechair, the number 4, the letter U, purplechair4u at gmail.com. Or you can go to my beautiful website. Here's my beautiful website designer. And that is simple. This purple chair, all one word.com.
Awesome. Yeah. And Kathy's email is at the bottom of her website. So you can always go and contact her there. But she has all the information on there. She has links to her book if that's something that you might be interested in grabbing a copy of. But Kathy, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective with our audience. And we will see everyone again next week on another episode of The Other 99%. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Other 99%. We just want to say thank you. It truly means the world to us that you're here. Lisa and I absolutely love creating these episodes for you, and we're so grateful to have you in our community. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to like, share with a friend, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We drop fresh content every Tuesday. Got thoughts, questions, or ideas? Leave us a comment. Want to be a guest on the show? We would love to chat with you. Apply by clicking the link in the show notes. Thanks again for spending time with us today, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Other 99%.